Hello and welcome to another Ask the Petition video. Do you like my new fan? More on this in a little bit. Let's get the video started, shall we? Yes, we shall. Today, I want to share with you the experience I had a couple weeks ago with Sexual Health Alliance at a study abroad. I actually did two. I did Paris and Amsterdam. So I'm going to be talking to you about Amsterdam and how amazing it was. So if you don't already know, I did make a video that's already out about my Paris study abroad, and then I took a train from Paris to Amsterdam. Sexual Health Alliance is the organization where I got sex therapy certified, and it's an amazing organization that they certify sex therapists, sex coaches, sex educators, and I'm actually currently doing their K to the Ink certification program, K to the Ink Informed, which I'm really enjoying so far. And thankfully, they do these really cool study abroads. They do 4 locations every year. So they did Paris and Amsterdam, and they're doing 2 more locations this fall. So I'm going to be telling you about my Amsterdam experience, which is so much fun. By the way, if you like content about psychology, relationships, and sex, make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and turn on bell notifications. And let's get into the Amsterdam study abroad, and I'll be sharing more about the program at the end after I go through my experiences. So as I said, after the Paris experience, which was so amazing, I took a train with not just Justin Lemiller, who runs the Sexual Health Alliance program. He's the one that does the all the itinerary stuff very well, by the way. He's amazing. Took a train to Amsterdam. I had a really nice hotel, which was great. I stayed at a place called Van der Valk Amstel. It was nice and fancy, just how I like it. And then that night I went to Izakaya. Here's just some pictures of the food that I had on the first night, because Izakaya is this place in an area of Amsterdam called De Pipe, which is super duper nice. This restaurant is absolutely amazing. So it is pricey, Asian fusion, Japanese, but this roll, this king crab yoramake, was absolutely insane. So after an amazing dinner by myself at my favorite restaurant in Amsterdam, had a nice night of sleep, and then we can call this day 0. It wasn't day 1 necessarily, because the study abroads have about 4 or 5 days, but 4 main activity packed days. So this was King's Day. And if you don't know what King's Day is, my goodness, okay, it was my first King's Day. So basically, the whole city of Amsterdam is shut down except for the restaurants and bars, and everyone just parties. So it's just one big party, kind of like frat type of vibe. Not necessarily my vibe, a bit overstimulating. But King's Day was day 0 before all of the other festivities. However, we did have a really nice time in the morning. There was a 9:45 boat cruise, so that was pretty cool. So I'm in Amsterdam. I'm about to take the train and meet everybody for the first day of the Shaw Sexual Health Alliance Amsterdam. I was just running, I'm out of breath. Meet everyone for the first day of the Shaw study abroad here in Amsterdam, and it is King's Day, which is why I'm wearing orange. The only reason I have this shirt is because of my mermaid ma'am costume, but little do they know, I have stickers representing on my chest. Yes, I'm so excited for this. I've never been here for King's Day. I've been here 5 or 6 times, but I heard it's crazy, so we shall see. Oh wait, it's a video. Yay! And here are some really nice pictures and videos of that experience. And it was so nice to connect with some of the people who I had already met from the Paris study abroad, but there were a lot of new faces and new people to meet with. A lot of them were sex therapists, sex coaches, or in the sex field in general. Like I explained in the Paris study abroad, a lot of people who go on these trips are not necessarily therapists. However, they have some type of business in sex, or they are aspiring to have a business related to sex positivity in some way. So lots of things to talk about, which is super nice. And so there was a lot of King's Day madness. The boat was super fun. The vibes were really, really good and really, really nice. I was feeling good. I had wine for breakfast, which I typically don't do. However, I did that day. Yes, I did. And then we walked around and we just saw a lot of the madness unfolding. I didn't love how much people were trashing the city. And I was telling people on the trip, I was by the way, I know I said Amsterdam is my favorite place. This is not the typical vibe of Amsterdam, because a lot of these people on the study abroad, this was their first impression of Amsterdam. I'm it's not usually this crazy, okay? Just give it a couple days. However, it's fun. Everyone wears orange. I was wearing orange, but I was wearing the Sexual Health Alliance stickers as pasties to represent. And that was super fun. I even had like some random Dutch girl like put the flag colors on my cheeks. Like I was into it. Okay. Day one. Let's talk about day one. Here's me right before all of those festivities started.
Okay, going to a sex museum. All right. Hey, smiley. Hey. Everybody in there.
So day one, we had a nice meet and greet before we went to a sex museum. It was really nice to have a moment to like kind of get to know some people, vibe with people, and have this moment to kind of like mingle and whatnot at like it wasn't a happy hour, but it was like a meet and greet right before going to the museum. And there was this woman who lives in Amsterdam who gave us a talk about some misconceptions around the Dutch culture. And not to get into it too much, but a lot of people in the world, they assume that individuals who live in Amsterdam are like super duper into sex and super promiscuous and whatnot. And she was saying that it's more so like people are chill, right? And when you think about like who goes to the red light district and all of the sex workers, a lot of the time it's tourists, which helps with Amsterdam making money and everything. However, the Dutch themselves, like, yes, maybe a bit more sex positive and more chill, and they don't care if you're not wearing a bra. However, they're not necessarily like more sexual, if that makes sense. So she was explaining that. We went to the sex museum and it was actually pretty cool. I thought it was going to be like tacky and touristy, but it was actually pretty awesome and welcoming. And I liked a lot of the stuff that I saw, especially the woman on woman stuff. And it was pretty cool to see how there was a lot of pictures that were portraying people having playful, consensual experiences like way long ago in history. And afterwards, we were given this pretty cool handy dandy book, which is pretty nice. I want to show you what's in there, but I don't know if I can show it on the YouTube. But it was nice to get this like very high quality, because as you can see, it's been there since the 80s. So besides seeing some pictures of, woman on woman, breakfast of champions, if you will, because that's my favorite thing to look at. There was like this huge schlong, and I took a bunch of group photos and pictures of myself on top of and straddling this huge schlong. And I can't show you like the full thing. I mean, I can show you a censored version, but that was fun, just like taking a bunch of pictures with all of these like very sex positive and anatomy related things, if you will, things that I can't post on the gram without risk, you could say. So that was fun. And then after the sex museum, we went to drag bingo, which is exactly what it sounds like, pretty much like a drag show. So take a look at this clip of this amazing drag queen. If you want this and yeah, we played bingo, and that was fun, and that was cool. I had a good time. I love me a drag show. It's the best vibe. It's super fun and great energy. So now let's talk about day two. So day two was the food tour. This was the best food tour I've ever been on. The food tour guide, Esther, was absolutely amazing. She was super good vibes, and you could tell she was really passionate about it. We went to so many different places and had so many different types of food. My favorite thing was this like sticky rice thing, but here's a clip of me enjoying this other type of like sandwich thing. I don't know what it's called, but it was delicious. So yeah, that was really cool. It was a very long food tour, but the weather was nice, the vibes were good, and we had a lot of different things. I didn't record this, but I did allow myself to have a very delicious lemon tart meringue thing. And I've been avoiding dairy. Those of you who know me know I have been off dairy, and I did do a pretty good job avoiding dairy for the most part during this trip, but I did allow myself to have a little treat at this place called Waldo in Amsterdam, and it was worth it. Let's just say that it was worth it. So let's talk about the sex shop I went to with a few other people, including Justin LaMiller. It's called Male and Female, but not like male like human male. It's like MAIL and female. Great sex shop. And let me show you the things that I got, because I'm wearing one of them. I was able to find this amazing clit necklace, and a lot of us got this. I'm glad I got this one because it's like a really nice size, and a lot of people don't know what it is. Like even my grandma was like, oh wow, what a beautiful design, not knowing it was a clitoris. And then I told her and she was like, oh wow, I wouldn't have been able to tell. So I'm like, I don't know, should I wear it when I'm doing therapy? Maybe not. Maybe that's inappropriate. I'm not sure. I'm a sex therapist, but not all my clients are for sex therapy. Anyways, so I got these, and then I got this, and I got these clitoral earrings. You could call them clit earrings. Clit earrings. Look how cute. So yes, I absolutely love these. And then, like I was mentioning earlier, how I opened up the video, just open it up just so you can see. It's a vulva fan, and look at all the cute disco dancing vulvas. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So fun fact, I like to do yoga, and I had this funny thought when I was in downward dog the other day, which if you don't already know, it is the face down ass up of yoga. You heard it here first. When I'm in downward dog and I'm wearing this, I have a clit in my face and it like lands in my mouth. So that's a fun fact that I'm sure you're going to be thinking about for the rest of the day. After I got this amazing necklace from Male and Female, I would say this is probably my favorite part of the trip. We had a kink workshop. Yes. So in the last video about Paris study abroad, I was sharing that I was curious about Shibari, like rope play, and that's exactly what this kink workshop focused on, because I think I might like getting tied up, and I was like, you know what? Let me give this a try. So it was pretty cool. It was at this yoga studio, and the way it worked was this woman was giving us a lot of information about rope play and how to do it properly and how your safety is your responsibility, but there's all these cool aspects of it related to verbal and nonverbal consent, and like really paying attention to someone's nonverbals of like discomfort and really just checking in and being very attuned to the other individual in a way that I really, really liked. So I did volunteer to get tied up by the instructor first, and then basically we chose if you wanted to get tied up or tie up or watch. So I wanted to get tied up, so I had one of my new friends, colleagues, whatever you want to call it, tie me with a rope, which was super fun. And then I had my other new friend untie me, and thankfully he got it on video because he was wearing the handy dandy Meta Ray bands. So here's a little clip of that. You could just tell that I was just like, I felt almost like, I don't know, it made me feel like kind of like, ooh, it's hard to describe, like feeling tied up and like putting your safety in someone else. It kind of reminds me of like when you feel secure from a safe belt, or someone like tucks you in at night, and it's like, I don't know, there's just something about being tied up that I really, really like, that feeling. So I want to explore that more with trusted individuals and learn more about it. And it was also kind of interesting, was like, oh my God, if I fell over right now, I'd be like a potato without arms. So, so yeah, my new friend untied me, and it was a very nice, pleasant experience that I really enjoyed. And I learned a lot, and it was really cool. I would definitely do it again, or other things like it, with trusted individuals who know what they're doing. By the way, take a look at this cat from the yoga studio. Absolutely hilarious. I just love the look on this cat's face. Looked so unamused, the opposite of my vibe the whole trip. Day number 3 was the bike tour. It was my first time biking in Amsterdam, but it was a beautiful day and it felt so good. You have to be careful, you know, people aren't wearing helmets for the most part. So yeah, that was super fun. There was a lot of amazing things to see. So that was really awesome. I loved that. We had a nice break to like mingle and whatnot. So yeah, the bike tour was super cool and fun. And then we did, after that, I had a really nice lunch with my new friends at this really beautiful place, and here's me getting excited for Bonton. So we are about to go to a brothel in Amsterdam. Never been to a brothel before, but I'm excited to learn more about sex work, and I will let you know how it goes right after. By the way, look how beautiful this place is. So yeah, after we got to Bonton, which by the way, it is a brothel, but it's more of like a high scale strip club. The sex worker who was sharing more about the club was sharing that a lot of the women there pretty much get paid to drink champagne, which sounds pretty cool. And something I was really pleasantly surprised to hear was it's not necessarily like the red light district where like sex is always a part of the picture. The sex workers are consenting. So like a lot of the time it's like for lap dances and whatnot, and then like the client will ask, and then, you know, that kind of thing. It's not like every single client they meet they have sex with, if that makes sense. Another thing I learned that I talked about on my Instagram reels and TikTok and whatnot was like, I was curious about like, what about with oral sex? Do they use condoms? And I learned, to my surprise, that most sex workers don't use condoms with oral sex, which I'm like, oh, okay, make sure you're getting STI testing regularly, because she was saying that if you did, you'd be less likely to get clients. So it's something people don't really talk about, but something to consider, right? And, you know, as the client or as the sex worker, like the risk that's involved in that dynamic, which, you know, part of me is like, I understand, because like sucking on that latex probably isn't comfortable. However, you know, a lot of the time that is the safer option, but a lot of people aren't doing that. So, let me know your thoughts on that below. I'm not going to say much more about that, but that was something that I didn't expect. The last day 4, was the fantasy workshop, which was really awesome. We learned more about erotic fantasies and how the importance of empowering clients and humans in general to talk about their fantasies, not only just exploring it on their own, but with their partners, right? Like, that's something that I've definitely talked about a lot on social media and even in my dissertation, about how much better your relationship and sexual satisfaction is if you're able to talk about fantasies with your partner. And there was an amazing presentation learning more about fantasies, and Justin Lemiller talking about, and there's a lot of information about Justin Lemiller's book, Tell Me What You Want, which was really interesting. And there are a lot of different themes that come up when it comes to fantasy. I wrote down the 7 themes. So the major themes that emerge universally in fantasies: number 1, multi-partnered sex; number 2, power, control, and rough sex; number 3, novelty, adventure, and variety; number 4, taboo and forbidden; number 5, swinging, partner sharing, polyamory; number 6, intimacy, passion; number 7, homoeroticism and gender bending. So I thought that was interesting. So basically, the woman who was talking about a lot of this fantasy research she was doing allowed a couple of people to share their fantasies, and it was really awesome learning more about just psychology of fantasy and allowing a space for people to be vulnerable. It was very, very fulfilling, I will say. It was a really great workshop. I absolutely loved it. By the way, the woman who ran the workshop, I won't get into it too much, but she pretty much interviewed 300 people about their erotic fantasies and found a lot of similar themes to Justin Lemiller. So that was really cool, learning more about what she learned when I think she set up a van and went to certain events and was like, do you want to share your fantasies? It was this really cool thing that I learned about. So that was super cool. And then the last thing we did was a sunset boat cruise, because yes, why not? It was amazing. So we had a really good time just ending off the Sexual Health Alliance study abroad with this sunset boat cruise. And funny enough, I ran into this woman who was like, oh my God, are you Sonya? I follow you on social media. But little did I know, I had ran into her in the airport 2 years ago. Her name was Roxy. She lives in Amsterdam. And that was so cool because I met her when I was 2 a.m. in the airport a couple years ago, and she had been following my TikTok since then. So it was really cool because she knew a lot about my life because of social media, and I was like, wow. So we became friends and hung out afterwards, and yeah, we all kind of grabbed drinks after. The sunset boat cruise was an amazing way to end off the trip, and it was sad that I was leaving and everything because I had 2 weeks of amazing connection, and everyone was so open-minded and non-judgmental and so cool, and I just had such an amazing time. I may or may not be going every year to some type of study abroad with Sexual Health Alliance. And like I said before, they do 4 locations every year, 2 at a time, I believe. They're doing another study abroad this fall. I think it's Berlin and Copenhagen. So you can look that up if you want. By the way, you don't have to be a part of Sexual Health Alliance in order to participate in these study abroads. Just look into it if you want to have a fulfilling experience of traveling with a bunch of open-minded, non-judgmental people who may or may not be sex therapists or something similar in that field or wanting to be, right? So it's really an awesome experience to learn more about culture and just have a reason to travel and try a bunch of delicious food and just have a lot of amazing experiences. So thank you so much for watching. This was fun sharing my experience and reminiscing. And by the way, if you like content that's about intimacy, sex, and relationships, hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn on bell notifications. I post every Sunday. Everyone make pleasurable decisions and decisions because you deserve it.